working on a song and I actually forgot to hit record because I was gonna do it live. So I'm just gonna have to walk you through. I'm almost done now, unfortunately. Um, so this song started with me using Harmony Bloom, which I haven't used in a good little bit. And you can see down here, I'm when I work in Harmony Bloom, what I typically do is start with something, usually randomization of this. I'll set the key up here to that, and you can see it's locked up here too. And then I'll just randomly come up with something for the note length, the duration of the note, and just keep hitting random. And then I lock in this quantize over here, and then I start making random patterns. And I do this now live. What I mean by that is I set a nice long 32 to 50, whatever you want to do, and I literally take whatever randomly it gives me and I roll with that. Sometimes I'll randomize it quickly a couple of times depending on if I get what I want when I'm doing it. Um, and most of the time I kind of let it play out as it's going to play out because this is kind of setting the textural pad like background of the song, especially when I'm doing cinematic. I'm living in the moment. And now I don't do every song like this because sometimes I'm playing chords or I'm playing certain things. But this is kind of a cool way to get inspired. And if you haven't picked up Harmony Bloom, by the way, it works on iOS as well as on desktop. So you should grab it. It's super affordable. And the dev is really actively involved in keeping his stuff up. Mario Nito, that is. Shout out to him anyway. And so I'm using this to create the gist of the track. Then I'll usually go back and do some drums. Now, you can see here, this is the only section of this song that has drums because I don't want to give you a boring, repetitive drum pattern all the way through the whole thing. It'll kind of get old and stale. And I'm creating moments within the moment. In other words, I want to play just as I feel and let it be more free form. And the more free form I do, the better off I tend to find it being. So this is where retrospect is it retrospective? Yeah, retrospective recording comes into play. MIDI capture, some people call it, right? Where I'm just playing and then I just go ahead and MIDI capture that moment that I was playing and then I allow that to be. So that's what I did with the bass. This was recorded in one take. I just played it, right? But I did the Harmony Bloom first to give me something to work with. Then I added the drums. So these drums, this is addictive drum, come from a funk pattern, and I'm using different pieces of different parts of the MIDI to create this pattern. So let's just do this. Let's solo out this portion. This is changing constantly. And we're using Omnisphere and Tom Wolfpack called Sleep. And I'm using this one called Dissolution. Okay. Then I'm adding Black Hole over the top with a preset from Tom Wolf. His ethereal keys called Grained. So it's kind of gritty. Little reverb. Now this changes from here all the way to the end. A lot of changes. So the idea is to keep something in the track that doesn't sound like it is consistent. And in this track, a lot of stuff is inconsistent, but that's the whole point of it. I want it to feel like it's constantly moving. You're never bored. The listener is not hearing a lot of repetitive. The repetitive sounds are great when you're doing dance music, hip hop, stuff like that. But when you're stepping outside that and you want to try to explore other styles of music and really explore ambient or cinematic or just something that's different, you got to let yourself be more free. Otherwise, it'll sound pretty stagnant. And it depends again on your purpose. On the bass, I'm using Trillion, my typical go-to with regards to Trillion. And here, so the muted Petrucci R&B, it's basically a jazz bass that's muted. I always put a little bass fattener and punch on there. It helps to strengthen that. So you can hear. So that's me playing free. And I'm literally just playing what feels right at that moment. When you play like this, what it's doing is you're creating the feeling of the track. So you're trying to live in that moment and just feel the music out. So then the drums, I'm using kind of a mallet, very, I would call that cinematic type feel. And even though it's a funk pattern, that's pretty consistent, at the end of each pattern, I'm throwing in some type of feel. So let me just show you this one. So you'll see this. Okay. Then when you get over here, you'll see a totally different feel, because I don't want you to get too caught up in that pattern, because it's only on there for maybe a good 16 bars. So when it gets over here, you'll see this next feel. I'll let you hear the rest of the drums. And I added a ride tip that wasn't there just to give it a kind of a crash. A longer feel that kind of rings out with that crash. And then what I do is I add in, typically on my drum bus, you'll see I have a transient shaper, a drum kit enhancer, and I keep Valhalla Vintage Reverb with a drum air preset, which I turn down usually around 10%. Now, if you're on iOS, you can use EOS 2, which is made by the person who makes the Valhalla stuff, even though it's under Audio Damage is the company, I believe. So EOS 2, my favorite preset on, or favorite reverb on iOS, you can grab that one and use in there the ambient setting and then just turn it down to 10. It's basically the same thing. It gives the drums some air and they sound pretty cool. All right, we'll stop this. So now comes, what am I going to use for a lead? And what I choose is Ample Sound guitars. This is a 335, a hollow, semi-hollow guitar. Then I usually use Amplitude. I have the Fender collection, and I usually use a twin reverb. It just gives it a little distortion to kind of make it sound more natural. Without it, I'll have to turn the reverb off. Sounds like a very clean guitar. Then gives it some subtle grit. And then I turn on the Valhalla plate, and I'm using in this one this preset is actually called a large guitar cloud. So it can get really crazy, but I just turn the mix is usually set at 100, but I turn it down to like 19 to 20, somewhere around there, just to give it a little character, little reverb. See, it's almost sound like a little delay, but it's kind of got a little cloud going on there. So anyway, that's the guitar. Now, when I'm playing the guitar, and I'm playing again on feeling, capturing moments, bits and pieces. So this time I'm recording. I'm just hitting play and I'm playing, and then I'm allowing. I'm using again MIDI capture. That's a huge factor when you're recording like this, because I'm just capturing the moments, right? I could hit record, but then you feel when you hit record, it feels like I got to make this take right. But if I just play and then use the MIDI capture, which is right here, it's totally different. It changes the vibe because I'm not worried so much about what I play at that moment. I'm just enjoying the moment. So take a listen. This is like kind of a solo. Using pitch bend, mod wheels to give it some of that vibration of the strings like a real guitar. feeling it. And that's how I play guitar typically over a track is like that. So I wanted to make an intro, so I scooch all this down or move all this down, however you want to term it. And then I played a chord on the guitar. So just for an intro, a single chord, which leads in that. Then I sprinkle some guitar pieces, little bits, a little more quiet. So that the bass has its moment. See, I leave a lot of air in between. These are just notes to kind of. So then when I come to this next part, I do the same. I sprinkle a little more right before you get into the drums. That was me just playing, and you'll see I press this button here, bring it down. Now usually it'll do it on the track, but let's go here. We'll just change the color. So here's some more of the notes. I'll pull it back here so that we connect it. And now we have pretty much everything. So this is kind of like my way. I'm going to go ahead and put all this together. Just blend and mix it all together is fine. And if you really don't like parts, you could go in and remove it. But I like as much freeness as I can with the playing because it gives you a different eye, a different perspective on music, and it's more about living in that moment. And now here comes the solo again. Okay. So you don't have to listen to all of it. But anyway, there you go. So you can see here, I'm only using 4 tracks. I don't need a lot because I'm creating so much air and space and so much texture going on that the ear couldn't really probably even take much more before it gets just overwhelming. And you don't want to do that because then the song is congested. It's like when you're stopped up, like I am right now. You're feeling a little congested. That's the worst song ever to do because it doesn't give the listener's ear enough time to feel the music and to take it in. Blues players are incredible at this. BB King specifically comes to mind, how he could take just a few notes and he make them sound like he's just played a ton of stuff, but it's just a few notes, and it's the way he bend the strings. It's the way he um, slid his fingers across stuff. It's the way he the vibrato in his fingers that he was using. Just little things like that that give it more. But here again, 4 instruments: bass, drums, guitar, and some form of synth or keys or something. So it doesn't take much, um, and you can come up with some of the coolest music and some of the uh, different type of exploring that you want to do. Um, and then on the master, I keep the same master chain. Once you get a good master chain that you like with your stuff, you might do a little tweaking on it. So I'll show you that real quick. I usually pick the busiest moment in the track, which for me is going to be around where the drums are, and I'll play it. And then I use like this kind of where you can see the track here. And then I'm going to turn on a mastering tool. Down a little bit here. And you want to watch this. Make sure it's not. We'll do 50%. That's nice. So just using a mastering tool, and again, this is Good Hertz, their new Wolf Compressor Mastering Edition, which I think is really good. If you, I think it's still in beta right now, but you can buy into the beta early, and they'll send you the different betas. This says beta 1. But I love this tool since I've gotten it. It's really helped with all the compression and all that kind of stuff going on. I use God Particle in there too, and a couple other things. But yeah, you just need some type of metering. This is actually from Life. They give you a DAW recorder. For me, I just use it as a metering to watch the levels to see if it's like overly saturated, clipping, and all that kind of stuff. It typically doesn't the way I have it set up. But anyway, it's just a visual for me to see that. And I like where it's at. Now, if I hit A, you can see the automation where I drew in this to gradually fade out. So that's kind of cool. Close that back out. And I feel like this song is done. So I just wanted to share it with you. I would have taken you through the longer process, but you kind of get the hint of or the sense of where I'm going with this. And yeah, I'll go ahead and send this one out. It's ready to go. I'll create some art cover work for it and whatever title I come up with. Usually, when I'm searching titles, if I don't have something in mind, maybe I have an idea of what it feels like. So I'll use Chat GPT to ask it to help me with a title, and I'll describe how it makes me feel and any details I can give it to get some song ideas. And then it'll give me all these titles, and I might like the words of one, I might like two, and I'll put them together. Or sometimes I just take a couple words from there and then I'll put together my own title. So just using the tools that you have to try to make some cool music. And yeah, whatever you're doing. So if you're not doing ambient, that's not a big deal. Do what you do. If it's hip hop, if it's jazz, if it's R&B, if it's whatever, sampling, use these techniques that you can learn where you can give your music some more variety of feel, and it's going to only make you better. I mean, that's just what it is. I'm learning from people too, so it's not like everything I'm doing is only something I discovered. It's just me borrowing bits and pieces and ideas from different people to create my own way of doing it. All right, I hope all is well. It'll be probably starting tomorrow. I'm going to take about a week off. I might do a couple small videos here or there where um because I'm going on vacation, where I'll be showing you something on Koala or something like that. So you won't be seeing much gear or like not too many videos obviously on Ableton. I'm not taking any computers. I'm actually going to relax. Um, but I just wanted to give you this one, and I think it's kind of something you can pull for some ideas from. All right. Again, hope all is well. I'm out.